purchasing all hybrid low-emission vehicles. We just got 2 low-sulfur fuel buses that run out to the subways to encourage mass transit. That's probably our biggest challenge, and then we're 15 or 20 minutes away from all the subway lines. We're now doing yard-wide waste management program in the yard. We have some very high-end dumpster divers in the Navy Yard who take advantage of a lot of construction projects going on and are reusing that steel for high-end products, that wood for furniture tables and chairs. A lot of that's going on. We're trying to better coordinate that yard-wide and maybe have one waste provider servicing the entire yard that will focus on a yard-wide recycling program. Today, all of our tenants are responsible for their own garbage. We have also agreed around the entire perimeter of the yard 6 to 12 foot setbacks for the Brooklyn Greenway for bike and pedestrian and further greening of the perimeter of the yard. This just again highlights some of the buildings that are going up. New buildings are going up at the yard basically through 3 different financing mechanisms. One is we self-finance leveraging our rent roll. So basically the rent roll from all of our tenants we use as collateral to borrow money in the first building. Again, the green building with the wind turbines, solar panels, on track for LEED Gold. We self-financed $25 million from Chase, creating 150 jobs. It's done. It's being taken by a current Navy Yard tenant, Surround Art, that treats and restores fine arts for MoMA, Smithsonian, private art collectors. They have grown from 5,000 square feet in the yard to 70,000 square feet. They're taking this entire 90,000 square foot building at $20 a square foot, which is the top of the market for industrial space and 15% higher than we thought. Why are they paying that? Because they wanted to pay a premium because it was important for their clients to be in a green environment. So when we convinced our board to let us spend considerably more to make this a green building, it was a little bit of a wing and a prayer. It was more that this is the right thing to do. We want to reposition the Navy Yard. We think that the rents will come along someday, but we don't know. We're putting it up on spec. It paid off on the first building, and I think it'll pay off on other developments for us. B&H Photo, all of their fulfillment comes out of the Navy Yard. 70% of their business is online. They're building a 600,000 square foot LEED Silver certified warehouse distribution center that's in design and construction later this year. Steiner's taking a World War II era, spectacular Art Deco-ish building, 7 stories. We've done the internal rehab. He's putting $60 million into rehabbing that space to double the size of the studios. That will be a LEED Silver certified project and also a fantastic historic preservation project, so green on a number of different levels. We expect 750 jobs to come out of there. Dugal Visual Solutions is taking a hulking shed of a building with very strong skin and bones that has been very low employment, warehouse distribution, 3 or 4 jobs. We moved that tenant out to another space. Dugal is going to take this building, put $7 million in, add a second floor. At the top floor, has an eco-laboratory for emerging green products like his own, but he wants it to be a place where collaborative green manufacturers come together to think about our other ideas and have conferences. It's right at the waterfront. There will be water taxi service to there. At some point, and on the ground floor, have his traditional eco-imaging and green manufacturing businesses going on. The next project at the top left-hand corner, again, to improve our community exterior and to better celebrate the Navy Yard's history and what's happening today. We're taking a historic structure designed by Thomas Walter Ford Architectural Capital. We're doing a LEED Platinum renovation of that and adding a new building in the back. The idea is these 2 buildings will be part of an exhibit that celebrates the Navy Yard's history, the evolution of manufacturing technology. There was an active use of materials going on during the World Wars. That was green manufacturing before anybody called it green manufacturing. The integration of the workforce, the development of the surrounding communities, all that will be celebrated a bit, but also what we are today as a modern, sustainable industrial park with a cornucopia of green products coming out of the Navy Yard, hopefully to encourage young people to pursue these kinds of jobs. We'll also have an element of the exhibit that will bring together graduate students from the surrounding universities to think forward. What are the products in development that will be the next generation of green products? It's about a $20 million project. We've raised $15 million already, and that'll be in construction later this year. The Building 128 complex, we're now talking to the state government about getting some subsidy to make this a green manufacturing center. We will borrow some money to go into it also, but it's a fantastic building. We're already in negotiations with a glass recycling plant that will take 40,000 tons of glass out of the waste stream, create an enormous number of green collar jobs. We'd love to find a solar paneling company. We're talking to a couple of maritime companies. We are in design, and again, we hope to be in construction by the end of the year. An enormous amount of pier work to upgrade the waterfront. Although they wouldn't call themselves a green manufacturer, the types of ship repair that goes on in the Navy Yard of tugs and barges that serve the super tankers in Port Elizabeth and Newark, I would argue there is a green element of that as well, because that means that more and more goods are moved by water, which means you're off the roads. At some point, companies are going to realize that it doesn't make sense financially to put their trucks on I-95 on the Interstate Thruway, and the economics will work to move more and more goods by barge. That'll make the maritime industry at the Navy Yard even more viable, although it's very strong today with 200 to 300 jobs. And my final slide is just, everybody's talking a lot about green jobs. I've seen it be hard. So much happening already with existing tenants. We decided to put together a brochure to address some of the issues you were bringing up. What is a green business? We decided not to make that determination ourselves. We're partnered with the New York Industrial Retention Network, which has really developed a national reputation around working with green businesses, that they would go out and select a group of our tenants to highlight in a brochure that are green manufacturers. And there are 29 that they came up with. I would argue there are more, but 29 accounting for 350 existing jobs today. And we expect that over the next couple of years, there'll be the chance to double or triple that number of green collar jobs. So what kinds of businesses are we talking to? We're talking to some solar paneling companies. We're talking to a glass recycling plant. We've got a deal put together with a biodiesel operator that collects yellow grease from the city's restaurants. We'll bring it to the Navy Yard, convert it to B20 biodiesel. It can go right into maritime vessels. It can go into trucks using the Navy Yard. That would be the most effective way to reduce the environmental footprint of trucks using the Navy Yard, is having them use biodiesel. So there's an extraordinary amount going on. I think I'll stop there and be happy to answer any